Okay, so there's just my half bath upstairs. People keep ripping the toilet paper holder off the wall. Like, it's driving me nuts.
Oh my.
And like every man, I go in and I take care of business. And I don't mean use the bathroom. I fix the toilet paper holder. Well, I go in there yesterday and I was like, son of a biscuit, it's coming out of the wall again.
Oh no.
So then I went and bought one that's a big flat plate.
Okay.
2 screws.
Yep.
With double-sided tape on the back. Oh yeah, bro.
Oh man.
With a little platform on top where you can put your phone.
Oh.
While you do your business.
There you go.
Installed that yesterday. And I got to tell you, after I was done, all was right in the world.
Huh? There we go. Just a little bit.
It was 15 minutes.
This is Bathroom Talk with Aaron
I got to tell you. And then I took the one that I'd pulled out and I said, oh my gosh, the bathroom downstairs, I don't think it has a toilet paper holder. I ran down there. Sure enough, we've been in the house 2 years. It still didn't have one. I was like, enough of this crap. I was... I took the one from upstairs and put it in.
Doing in his free time. He's wandering around bathrooms.
8:30 last night.
Toilet paper
kicking
holder.
butt, solving problems in the Stokes house.
Solving problems. Kicking butt.
See this did there. I'm just gonna say this guy gets crap done. I know that's dad talk. That's a little hanging fruit, but I had to say it. Berg, thank you for coming on the show. Please rescue me from this conversation.
Absolutely.
Well, we got to pause for a second. Why are you called the Berg? Mr. Michael Rosenberger.
Yep. It's a long last name.
It is.
And Guy Roberts showed up to my shop, was like, "No, we are not calling you Michael Rosenberger. Nope, it's the Berg." And he may have gone Berg, and he go, "No, the Berg." I was like, "Okay,
yeah."
all right." And
if you actually, if you email him and you write capital BERG, comma, blah, 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 he will respond. You forgot air quotes, the. No, I'm joking. He's never done that to me. He's never done that to me, but it's kind of like California.
I kind of feel like you would. I kind of feel like you should, though.
Maybe.
You know, everybody in California, they don't call the interstate, Interstate 5 or I-5. They call it the 5.
That drives me nuts.
You're like, stop the podcast.
It's like adding an L to both. It's not both. It's both.
It's both.
Not the
You're
5.
right.
It's I-5. It's I-5. Whatever.
Yeah. And here we go. Get on I-65 or get on 65. Not the 65.
A lot of our listeners.
Yeah.
All 5 of them.
You know what? I don't care anymore. It's driven me that crazy.
This is a really important
we
topic.
Are solving problems.
It is not supposed to have the in front of it, but Berg. Oh, it's supposed to be called the Berg.
So the Berg, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
How long have y'all known each other?
Oh gosh. 19?
2018, April of 2018. Yep.
I remember when you first came on the radar because of Alabama, who's another member that's got a nickname. We'll just use Alabama.
Alabama works.
Let's just leave that. We'll leave the innocent out.
Absolutely.
And so Alabama texted me and he's like, there's this guy, blah, blah, blah. And we were having a hackers meeting and we were using a barn that night. And that's how I heard about you, because he was verbally telling me about you. Then I think he started texting me, and I don't know if you had joined then or were thinking about joining, or maybe you'd done the course.
I don't remember the sequence of events, but I know he just got back from hackers and he was like, "Have you checked out these people?" And I was like, "No." And so I'm touring his shop and he sits down and shows me some of the stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, they're great. Like, this is awesome." And I was like, "I need to check this out," and me didn't want to just tell everything on myself, but like my shop was not doing well in that visit. And so.
And how much revenue were you doing then? Because you were doing a bunch back then.
Yeah, we were doing 2.4, 2.5, somewhere in there. Yeah.
So you were already a healthy size.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just grew super fast, but didn't know how to keep cash.
But before we get into all that,
sure,
because you need to tell us the time frame of how all that happened. We're getting ahead of ourselves. That's when we met.
Yep.
So we met around then. So sometime around that spring hackers meeting, I'd met Alabama then. He told me about you either there or right after.
Yeah.
and then you came into our world right after that. So why don't you fill in the blanks, though, about everything before in a nutshell? Because you're actually from Tennessee. A lot of people don't know that.
Yes.
So why don't you do that?
So why aren't we calling you Tennessee Berg?
Well, I mean, that works too.
Sorry.
That could work too.
Yeah. Okay. The Tennessee Berg.
The Tennessee
How
Berg.
did you get it?
Yeah.
Catch us up prior to you meeting Aaron.
So grew up in East Texas. Basically, my dad's college roommate called him up and said, "Hey, I want to open up a Midas shop." And 4 Midas shops later, we were moving to Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee. And so
How old were you when you went to Knoxville?
13.
Okay.
Yep. So I was homeschooled and
That explains a lot.
yep, explained a lot. I
wasn't going to say it.
Hey,
he took it.
He did. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah. So I would go to work and I would sweep the floors and learn and watch, and they would teach me shocks and mufflers and brakes and all that fun stuff. And if I got my schoolwork done that night, I could go back to work and go to work with Dad. So from 13 on, I was working.
Wow.
How long were those Midas shops? Did they did you start in them? How long have they been around?
Yeah. So they sold, I can't remember, to another franchise when my dad sold out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So they dissolved the partnership and sold out. And that's what brought me back to Texas. Got married at the time, and my wife wanted to go to Texas Women's University.
Huh.
So she finished her dance degree there. But
were you just turning wrenches somewhere?
Yeah. So growing up in my dad's shops, I did everything. When I was in college at University of Tennessee for 2 years, I was managing a store and, turning wrenches, doing whatever it took to, whatever they needed me to do. I was service advisor, technician. This was right around the time too, where Midas was transitioning from brakes and mufflers to maintenance.
Yeah.
Diagnostics. And so
the muffler stopped rusting out.
all the guys were scared of technology and these scanners and stuff. So I would go and I would just learn. I was having fun and I would go teach them things, and I would just go out and take classes and learn. So I was a technician for about 10 years, master certified technician.
In East Tennessee or Texas?
In Tennessee and Texas. So when I moved to Texas, I was turning wrenches. Yeah. So I got a job at the Midas shop down there.
Oh, a Midas shop
in
there.
Denton, Texas. Yeah. Because that's what I knew.
Yeah.
It was easy.
Yeah, for sure.
A few months later, found out about this guy named Tommy, and 5 interviews later, finally he hired me.
5 interviews.
5 interviews.
5 with
Are you a bad interviewer?
I don't know. I was like, dude, he's like, I don't have room for a technician. I'm like, I don't have to be a technician. I can be a service advisor. He goes, hold on, wait a minute. I didn't know that. I was like, yeah, I can write service too. He goes, all right, fine. You're hired. $29,000.
29 grand.
29 grand.
And you just wanted out of the Midas that bad?
Yeah, I wanted to work for this guy. His customers loved him. I wanted to be in this shop.
Okay.
Absolutely. Just
any other dreams of owning a shop back then or anything? Or are you just wanting to be a mechanic or what?
Yeah, no, I knew I was going to own my shop someday.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this was just a path to get to the next level.
Absolutely. Okay. Yep. And the Midas was, it was there. But didn't super enjoy the franchise model and all that. But I just wanted to go this. I mean, the parking lot was packed with cars and all this. It was busy, and it was a lot of fun.
29 grand a year.
29 grand.
So you saw this guy was doing really well, and people loved him.
Yeah.
So you wanted to be over there. Did you feel like you could learn something from him? Or was it something you were kind of getting stagnant at Midas?
Oh yeah, definitely. When I got down there, they changed the pay on me, and my pay plan wasn't what they told me it was going to be. And then there wasn't any cars showing up, and I was a technician on commission, and I was like, okay, this is not good. Getting married in a month, this is not going to work.
So did you get this job with Tommy before marriage?
Yeah, 1 week before got married.
Was that the motivation? You were just trying to find a better job?
Yeah, I knew I needed to go somewhere where I could grow. And he's like, well, if you can prove yourself, I'm going to start you at this. But if you can prove yourself, I'll move you up. So
what happened?
I moved up. I was one of 2 advisors. The one advisor he had there would been there for 14 years, a long time.
Wow.
Long time. So it was hard because all the customers would walk in and they would go to him and not me, because I'm the young kid that's brand new. And so I'm like, I can do this too. So eventually, I just started getting a following, and I still have customers calling, asking for me today. So haven't even been there in a while. Yeah. So yeah, moved up, service advisor. He eventually retired. The guy next to me retired. I became the main advisor and then the manager. Yeah. And actually left Tommy for a year.
Where'd you go?
My dad needed help. Well, my dad had started a shop in Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which is where Richard Weiss is now, his second location.
Yep.
So I left. He started this store and several years ago, or several years earlier than that. And he started with a partner, and his partner wanted to retire and get out. So I'm like, okay. He's like, I don't know. I don't want to run it. Like, if you want to run it and take it over, go for it. And I was like, okay, here's my dream. I'm going for it. And
so you talked your wife into moving to Tennessee?
Talked my wife into moving to Tennessee.
Wow.
It's twice now.
We'll get to that later.
Seriously, yeah. Tennessee Berg.
Good. Yeah, Tennessee. See? Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I get up there and start running the store, turning around a little bit. And my dad's partner, I remember going home one evening and my dad's like, hey, you need to sit down on the couch. I'm like, uh-oh, it's not good. And so I sit down on the couch. He goes, look, I know you moved up here and all this, but he is going to buy me out, not the other way around. I'm like, do what? So now my opportunity to buy a shop is gone.
Did he say why?
He said his partner would not let him buy him out. And his partner assumed that I was going to stay and run the store for him.
Oh, wow.
So
what happened next?
So I was like, well, let's see how this goes. And it went exactly how I thought it would. And I left in a month. So just the deal went through and yeah.
He was just not a good boss. And
yeah, we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And we had definitely religious differences.
Okay.
We'll leave it at that. And yeah. And again, I wanted to own my own store. And so that door closed.
Okay.
So, and the wife was not super happy about Tennessee at that time. And she wanted to go. Her sister just had a baby. So she was like, yeah, let's go back. And that was during the housing crisis, 2009, 2010 area. So our house in Texas had not sold yet. So we just literally just moved back, 9 months later. Yeah.
So when you moved back, what did you do next?
Well, so I called Tommy. I'm like, hey, I'm coming back to Texas. He goes, really? Oh, thank goodness. Because I got this other store and I need you to go help run it and get it. It's flatlined. I think it was doing $50,000 at the time. And it was, his dream was always to be a Honda, Toyota, Acura, and Lexus store. So I was like, okay. So get in there, and it had flatlined. And within 3 months, I doubled it. And he's like, okay, well, that's what I thought. It's the manager. So I'm like, okay. He goes, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to remodel all of this store. And then I'm going to combine the other one over here because I just want one big store. I don't want two stores anymore. And they were literally around the corner from each other. And the phone numbers were one digit off. So we had so many customers like calling both stores and it was such a nightmare. Like if we ever talk about multi-location, I can tell you what not to do on that. Yeah. So found myself there. I spent 2 years remodeling the store. I put in, well, you saw every bay door you saw in that building, I installed. I did a lot of the wiring, a lot of the networking, like just a ton of stuff in that building. And all under the guise, because I came back, I was like, I really want to own my store. He goes, absolutely. He goes, I'll sell it to you. So I get 3 years into that, remodel, get the whole move the other store up there. I'm managing this store. I'm like, okay, he's going to retire soon. He said, within about 5 years, he wanted to retire. And pulls me aside one day and goes, I'm going to sell to my stepsons.
Oh, no.
I'm like, again? Like, are you serious? Like, and I'm going, Lord, what's happening here? God, like, why me? Like, why? What is going on? So I got super depressed and just didn't know what to do, didn't know where to turn. And so about a year later.
You stayed there though.
I stayed. Yeah, I stayed because I'm like.
And they changed ownership to the sons?
They did not. They did not.
Okay.
So nothing happened. I stayed and just doing life. And around that time we had Wade. Yeah, Wade was born. So I got busy with that. So just kind of got distracted, family, all that. Another shop owner reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm hurting. I need some help." So I started coaching him. And as I'm coaching this quick car at the time and telling him do this and this and this and this and do that, I found that I loved coaching like people. Like that was my passion. That's where I lit up. And I was like, okay, someday I want to do this, but I first have to buy a stinking shop. I still have to own the shop before I can coach.
Yeah.
Like, so start coaching him. And then all of a sudden he's like, hey, I guess it was a year later. He's like, hey, do you want to buy me out? I would love for you to take it over. I'm like, sure. But here we go again. Like, I'm not holding my breath on this one. Like, it's already been shut down. So we had a handshake deal, and he's like, hey, let me know. And we had a couple things to do. And I went to Tommy. I said, hey, I'm turning in my notice. I'm going to go buy this store. And he freaked out, completely freaked out. Said, wait a minute, just, can you give me a week? I'm like, okay, but I'm not, like, this deal is hot on the table. I don't know. He goes, I really want you to buy me out because I'm having second thoughts. So he goes to both.
But he is.
Laid down the law is what he did.
Yeah. So he goes to both stepsons. And at the time, they weren't ready. They didn't want to take the store over. They want to buy it out. So he goes, all right, I'm going to sell to you. I'm like, okay, but we're getting this in writing and like contract sign and all that stuff. So about 18 months later, I ended up buying the store, and I was in 2017, January 2017.
Still took 18 months.
Yeah. And I had to coach him how to sell his own store all the way through the whole process, every bit of it. I had to go to the lawyers, the attorneys. I had to draft up the.
He didn't want to do any of it.
He didn't know how. He didn't like
Yeah, but you didn't know then either. I mean, you wouldn't figure it out.
It's true. I did. I 100% did. And fortunately, I had some connections and I knew some people, strong financial planner in Tennessee, Justin, who helped me walk through the deal. Like God had people in my life, like surrounding me for that time. I didn't know he was putting in my life for that, but yeah. So, well, it's been a crazy journey.
Go back just a little bit, because I think something that happened to you is probably important for us to discuss.
Sure.
So you wanted a shop. Didn't work out once. You wanted a shop. It didn't work out again.
Yep.
And you said that you sat there in that moment and you said, okay, God, this is again, this is happening.
Yeah.
What do I do? And you were there for a year. You stayed there, and you could have left. You could have done something else, but you were asking, why am I here? Mm-hmm. What did you hear? How did you deal with that disappointment? What did you work through during that time?
A lot of patience. So I used to have a really bad temper, like really bad. And I think through that, like, I learned a lot of patience and that I needed to trust God, and like he's got the plan. And like, I think in that moment, like, I was super depressed and like was searching for like everything, like what is going on in that moment. And if that had happened like perfectly smooth and like I had done all that, I wouldn't have learned so many lessons that I need today to get me to sitting on this couch.
That's such a key thing. And it's a key thing that you decided that you allowed it to bring you to where you're at and prepare you for when you needed to be. Because a lot of people would get frustrated and it may just go, but they don't recognize it as, this is going to help me get where I need to be if I allow it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it was just those lessons that you learn. But even in all of that, like, the reason I was depressed is because I knew where I wanted to go. Mm-hmm. Like, I never lost. I am going to be there
for sure.
Right. And so that's what I was so sad and depressed about. Cause I'm like, well, here's another roadblock. Here's another obstacle that keeps getting thrown in my way. I'm like, how many mountains do I have to climb to get to where I need to go? Here's another valley, got to climb another mountain. But I never lost sight of that is where I am eventually going to own a shop, and I'm eventually going to coach some shop owners.
Yeah. I think that the other thing that you did is, which I find when we talk to people who go through these challenges, they start asking the why questions.
Yeah.
They become very curious about themselves. They
Yep.
become very curious about
Yep.
their situation, and when you do that and you start asking the why questions and you start getting curious about, you start being able to learn, it opens yourself for opportunity.
Sure.
So I think that you asking why in the moment, as opposed to it's just them, their problem, it's not me, that kind of stuff, that really allows you to start to process through as well.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And there was a lot of why questions.
Yeah.
There was a lot of why questions. And there was some blaming and ultimately, I mean, it worked out. But yeah, I know looking back, I had to go through those moments.
And why is that? What did you specifically feel that you needed that time to learn?
I mean, there was a lot of lessons in there, like a lot. Like the first move, like listening to my wife and like getting our relationship, like there was a lot that we went through, and that struggle there, like moving her up to Tennessee, and then all of a sudden, sorry, honey, this is not going to work. We got to move back, right? And like, I think selling her the vision or that dream, like I'm going to own the shop, and then having a piece of that. And then now it's like, I got to take that back away and I got to go, make 60, 70 grand managing the store again. Like those type of lessons just stacked on top of each other. Patience, having documents signed in the first place, having agreements signed. Like I could name 100 lessons that I could stack up in all of those moments that I had to go through. Yeah.
It's really good. What's interesting to me is you bought this store.
Mm-hmm.
You're now running it.
Yep.
Tommy, I guess, is gone.
Yep.
What happened with the stepsons?
Yeah. So it's interesting. And I need to back up too. Like I bought the store with $10,000.
How'd that happen?
He did a owner finance, and I was like, hey, I'm going to give you $10,000 down. And he wanted like, I can't remember a certain, like, I think it was $10,000 or $11,000 a month for 15 years. And that was our deal. Yeah.
The reason he freaked out was because he knew those boys could not give him 10 or 11 grand a month.
That's exactly what he said.
He knew.
Yep. So they stayed with me. One was a technician. I think he's left me 2 times, 3 times, something like that. He's left and come back and left and come back, which, I have managers. I'm up here. Managers make that call. Like that's their call, not mine. But so he's been in and out a couple times. And then the other stepson moved and opened his own store. Yeah. That one hurt a little bit. But I was grooming him. I told him, I said, look, if you stay with me, I'm going to teach you how to be an owner. I'm going to teach you. I'm going to train you. I'm going to, like, if that's what you want, I know you're young right now and I appreciate you recognize that. I will train you. I will teach you how to be an owner someday. Yeah. Again, I mean, that's what I'd love to do. I love to help people and get them to a place they never thought they could go.
And people who have probably been through that and relate to what you just said. They poured into somebody and they left. How did you deal with the pain of this guy leaving?
That was tough. It was a twofold. So what hurt there was they took a $1 million fleet account from me when they left. You were talking about losing $83,000 of cash flow in a month. Like that hurts.
So it didn't just hurt from a personal, it hurt on a business, which probably dug in the personal even more.
Yes. And they took 3 employees with them, a couple of technicians. Yeah. So, yep, that one hurt.
Y'all ever been able to mend that relationship?
Yeah. We've talked a few times and they've reached out a couple times and I've poured into them, and yeah, that was a big healing moment for me. Like, cause I keep going to TJ and I'm talking through him about this because I was hurting while this was happening, and I reached out to TJ, and even the last couple of years, TJ is like they were just hurting. Like you need to forgive them. Right. And so the ultimate forgiveness for me was like actually going on my way to coach them and help them a few times. So, and that just happened a few months ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. lessons.
So, and because I don't know, so how many shops? You have one shop?
I have 2 stores.
2 stores.
Yep.
Okay. Tell me about those stores.
One big one, it's Tommy's High Tech in Denton. It's 17 bays. We'll do, I think we're tracking 5.7 million this year out of that store. And then I have store 2, which we bought in October 21, I think it is. And that one will do 2.6 million this year.
Wow.
Yeah, is what we're tracking.
What was the thing where you decided I want to get another one? What moved you to that?
I definitely was not like, I didn't want to do that. So that store, I had to give runway to my employees.
Oh,
that's literally probably the only reason I bought that store, is to have a place where people could move up. Because I'm up here in Tennessee, convinced my wife to move up Tennessee 2 times. But yeah, anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so I'm up in Tennessee, and like my guys are down there like, hey, we found a store. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And they literally set up every single thing. They set up the credit cards. They set up the merchant accounts. They set up the software. They set up every single thing in that building. I literally showed up, signed the papers, walked them through, said, do this and this and this and this, and do this. And we'll do this remodel here and do this and this. And they handled all of that. Like, wow. Yeah, I was there for a Saturday, flew in, and I flew out that Sunday. I was there for 1 day. I came back, I think, 2 months later.
Crazy, isn't it?
And now, a quick word from our sponsors. Establishing trust is the key to keeping customers. AutoVital's easy-to-use digital vehicle inspections ensure clear communication to build that trust, which increases your average repair order to drive growth. Establish a consistent inspection process and keep your customers coming back year after year with AutoVitals. Reach them on the web at autovitals.com/inspect. Again, that's autovitals.com/inspect. Keep your customers coming back. You can't build business without customers. So how do you get new customers? You get your shop on RepairPal, that's how. With the largest site for auto repair and the recommendation of their partners like USAA, CarMax, and Consumer Reports, RepairPal connects you with high-quality customers through RepairPal.com and their 90-plus partners. Millions of customers use RepairPal every single month looking for a good shop. So why shouldn't it be yours? Check them out at RepairPal.com/shops or visit them at Shop Hackers and booth 11 and 12. RepairPal, high-quality customers at your fingertips. There's that moment after every job where you hand the customer the keys and they extend their hand for that handshake for a job well done. There's just nothing better than that. But those interactions don't happen if you don't reach out first. Upswell specializes in outreach for repair shops. At Upswell, you get a dedicated marketing consultant skilled in auto repair strategies to help you identify your ideal customer and create a campaign that hits the mark with perfect targeting, eye-catching design, and a compelling message to fuel your growth and get you more of those handshakes. Upswell handles it all. They even offer a free marketing assessment and 10% off your first campaign for all new customers. Get more customer handshakes, get more customers in the door, and get yourself an upswell of new business. Visit them online at upswellmarketing.com. Again, that's upswellmarketing.com. And now back to the episode.
Yeah.
So let's catch back up to how you jumped in with Shop Fix.
Okay.
So 18.
So 2018, April 2018, you don't know what you don't know. And cash flow had kind of caught up to me, made some poor decisions, buying some equipment, some training. Yeah, a lot of decisions. I was in with another coaching company, and I remember messaging you. Just left Brian Ordway's Alabama store.
You gave him up.
Right? Yeah. You'll have to edit that out. No.
It's fine.
So Alabama's store, and I'm driving down to Destin. We've been going there for years, but her parents had paid for a vacation for us to go, and I was like, I just need to go away from the store. And that's where I had, enough money for a payroll and a little bit more. And I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next week. And I'm calculating all this stuff up, and I go visit Ordway, Alabama, and he tells me about you. That night at 10 p.m. probably, I message you on Facebook, and you messaged me back and forth. I looked at that message the other day. And I was like,
scroll back and see.
Hey man, I'm with this other coaching company, not doing good. Like car count's dropping off, all this stuff. And you're like, that's a problem. I was like, I don't know if I can do both programs though. You go, and you assured me, you're like, no, I promise you this is going to work. This will help. I promise you, I'll give you all your money back. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. Signed up that night, right? I signed up before Alabama. That's he told me about you, but I signed up before him. And I remember my kids in the pool. They're swimming, and I'm on my phone, like watching every single video you had. All of them. And I'm like, wow, that makes sense. Oh my gosh, what have I been doing? That makes sense. That makes sense. And I'm writing my list, right? Okay, Monday, I'm going back. We're knocking it out. Because Monday, when I got back, we had to do $81,000 for me to pay my bills that I needed to pay and make payroll.
You needed it in one day or Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday.
Okay.
We had never done that ever. We had done max 55, 60, something like that.
And weren't you doing like 250, 260 when you joined?
Yeah, we're doing roughly 240, 250, 260 right in there. Yeah, it would bounce all over the place.
And I still remember this because how much did you jump in 30 days from that month to the next month?
So we jumped 100,000. We jumped to 375 was our first month with ShopFix.
A month.
A month.
And here's the crazy part for everybody to understand. Not everybody's like Berg, very driven individual and good with numbers. So he was driven and he knew he was heading for a brick wall. A lot of people are driven, but they have no idea they're heading for a brick wall. You knew.
Yep.
So you just consumed the content like crazy.
Yep.
Made notes.
Watched all the videos. I came back on Monday morning. I talked to the manager and foreman. I was like, here's the deal, guys. We're going to do this and this and this. I made them watch some videos. And I was like, here's the deal. Y'all just say yes at that front counter. I don't care what it is. I don't care what color. I don't care what shape. I don't care what kind of car. I don't care what kind of problem. You say yes to it, and I will deliver on the backside. So I went into shop foreman role, and I literally grabbed every clipboard they had, dispatched it, shoved those cars into every bay I possibly could, was test driving cars, was doing everything I possibly could. And I remember pulling up a stool with all the other guys in the shop, and we were exhausted Friday at 6 p.m., like completely exhausted. But we were the happiest we have ever been.
And that's the best kind of tired, when you just kill it and you're just so spent.
And
what'd you do?
We just looked at each other like, we did it. Like, how in the...
And you needed 80?
We needed 80, and we did 104 and some change.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
In a week, in a 5-day work week.
And mind you, I didn't know any other shop.
And this is let's back up. This is pre-COVID money.
Oh, yeah.
That's like $200K today.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about ARO of 375, 350. That was a lot of cars.
Oh, yeah. That's a lot of cars.
It was a lot of cars. General repair.
Yeah.
Right. And just in that week, the yes concept was like ingrained in my body from there on out.
You had the proof.
Unfortunately, I was like, nah, this is a fluke. It's got to be a fluke. And yet, the next month we did the same amount, 375. The next month we did 375. And somewhere in there, I think I told you that to your face at a conference.
You're like, I'm starting to think this is working.
Yeah.
100K jump in 30 days. But props to you. Yeah, we gave you the info, but someone had to take action. Like you went and became a different role. You became the foreman.
Yep.
You started test driving. You started seeing the holes in the business, and you're like, all right, I know this doesn't need to be my job permanently,
right? But
these things need to be done to put out good products, so I'm going to do it.
Yes.
And that's what a leader does. And so you got in there and you made it happen. You were a do whatever it takes company for that week.
Yep. And it's funny because well, kind of funny, but like if I hadn't gone through those two obstacles, those major things, I don't know that I would have made it in that week.
Really? Why do you say that?
I don't, because like I wanted to own a shop so bad. I also didn't want it to fail so bad. Like I could have just, I don't know, laid over, like figured out something and just sold the shop or went back to Tommy or something in that week. Like, but like I didn't know any other shop doing $100,000 in a week, $80,000 in a week.
Oh no.
Like
it's super rare today. It was like you'd have to meet 1,000 shop owners to find one doing like, 400 a month.
This is like breaking the 3-minute mile or what,
4 minute
mile. 4 minute mile.
Sorry. I think we're still trying to break.
We're still trying to break 3 minutes.
The 3 minutes still there, bro.
Somebody can do this. Somebody's listening out there can do this.
I don't know. Wow,
but it was like if I hadn't gone through like, and I knew I wanted the shop so bad. I don't know that I would have made it through that month. I don't know.
Having been rejected so many times created a level of grit inside of you.
Yes.
That's crazy, man.
Yes. Yep.
Wow. That's pretty special.
Yeah. Just kind of had that revelation just sitting here right now. Like, that's why I had to go through those valleys.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, the determination, you saw the problems. And like you said, you stepped into where you saw the holes that you didn't see before. And you kind of went, okay, I need to do that. And you did it. And some people might see those, but still not step into it because they just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Right. But you were driven to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Grit. It's, man, there's something when the owner rolls up their sleeves and just digs in, like all of a sudden you got all the employees like, I don't know how much confidence I had, but I exhibited a lot of confidence in that week. I was like, we are going to do this. And
you
honestly,
faked it till you made it.
Yeah.
Well, and when you made it, you were shocked.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, you still didn't think it was real.
Yeah, true. Well, it's subconscious, right?
Yeah.
The loop. But yeah, but those videos gave me confidence, right? Well, Aaron says like this will work. Aaron says this will do that. And those, I've borrowed confidence off of the message I had from you.
0% interest, baby.
Yep. And man, it's a check that keeps on giving.
He's like, yeah, Berg's just making it rain. So let's back up.
Okay.
So I shouldn't say back up. Let's jump forward.
Okay.
Probably later in 18, maybe early 19, you probably shot me a text or a phone call or something saying, hey, I want to help Shop Fix. And I got to preface this. Everybody says that to me.
Yeah.
Like literally, Aaron, I want to coach for you someday. I'm like, okay, great. And they always say that in the beginning, but 2-3 years later, when the rubber meets the road, that's when you find out, in the beginning, they're just kind of all excited. It's the honeymoon.
Yeah.
Old Berg here. No, he says that. And I was like, well, reach out to TJ. And I've told that to a lot of people. I didn't think anything would come of it.
Yeah.
And TJ's like, I don't know. I got a card table for you in the corner. And like, what, a week later, a couple weeks later, you were up here.
Yeah. Well, I think.
And your family wasn't like you just were by yourself.
I just showed up. Let's see if this will work.
And we're in Nashville for everybody listening, and you were in Dallas. So, Denton, but a suburb of Dallas. But I mean, 11-hour drive, 2-hour plane flight, 4 hours with, all the getting there early and getting rental cars and all that crap,
Sure.
So either way, you're not close.
Yeah.
I don't even think I'm going to hear anything from you again. And a week later, you're like in the corner at a desk. Like, what happened there?
Well, I mean, we almost had to back up a little bit. Like, I became a coach in April of 19. So almost a year later after I signed up, joined the program, became a coach. And then, 6 months later, I'm calling you going, hey, I want to be more involved in Shop Fix.
Yeah, I don't want to just coach. I want to be more involved in the leadership side of things.
Yeah. And you're like, call TJ. TJ.
Everybody says this. Whatever.
Everybody says this. Like, whatever.
Well, no offense, but everybody, like literally everybody says it. And so you just get a little callous to it. Sure. You're like, I get it. You're in the honeymoon right now. You're excited. You're not really going to go through with this.
Sure.
That wasn't the case with Berg. He went through and then some. So everybody's different, but that was how he handled it. So you coached first.
Yep. Coach first.
And then, so roughly 18 months after you first signed up.
Yes.
You're in Tennessee.
Yeah.
without your family.
Yeah.
So can you tell us how in the world you talked your wife into this?
Well, there's probably some PTSD from the last move to Tennessee.
A little whiplash.
A little whiplash.
She's a tough cookie too. You don't mess with her.
She is.
We were in Montana. She was shooting that bow and arrow, and I was like, "Oh, dang! Don't get her mad."
Yeah, you look out. She is. Yeah. No, she's amazing. Like, I tell her all the time, like, I can't do any of this without your help and you just allowing me to go do all these things. Like, I'm a little crazy, right?
But she's your sounding board, and
she keeps
absolutely. You from being crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tell us about that conversation though. Like when you hung up the phone with TJ. Well, first, what did TJ tell you, and then what did you go tell your wife? Like, I want that part.
I think. Well, TJ was a little taken aback. He's like, "What do I do with you? Like, I don't even have a role. I don't even have a job. Like, you're not. It's not like you're applying for an open position. Like, you just want to help. You want to. Okay, well, I guess sure. I was like, hey, I'm coming up there February this week. And he's like, okay. I mean, I literally kind of forced my way in. Just
you did, yeah,
100%. Like, he's like, I don't even know what to pay us. Like, I don't care about that. Just I'm going to show up. Let's just see if you can use me. If you can't, it's fine, totally fine. I want to help. So I fly in Sunday night. You show up Monday, and I'm walking upstairs. And
wait, time out. We're in the attic of the Franklin shop.
Yes, literally the attic.
Yeah, it's a big shop. So, I mean, 17,000 square feet. It's actually got a second floor. We called it an attic, but it wasn't like we were on our hands and knees.
It is kind of a tilt roof up there. It kind of feels a little bit.
Yeah, it feels a little bit, but I don't want to portray like it's your grandpa's attic. Like,
right, sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was a working office. Okay.
Carpet,
yes. I mean,
drywall.
Yes, it had all the things.
It had all the things.
So back to you. You're walking up the stairs.
I'm walking up the stairs, and TJ's like, "Oh, good, you're here. Let's move some offices." Okay. He goes, "I don't know where you're going to go yet, but my office is going over here, and guys over here, and yeah. Oh, you can have my old office here." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right, sounds good." So I'm setting up on the card table in my office, my laptop, and I'm like, "All right, what are we doing? What's happening?" And TJ's like, "Well, we need help with this program and this program and this program." And yeah, I like that week, we pulled everybody together, and I do what I do best. And that's like, okay, what do you think about that? Okay, what about this? And I just pulled everything out of everybody, organized it, put it into a system process, built it. And by Friday we got done. He's like, "Whoa, we got a lot done." And I'm like, "Okay, you want me to come back next week?" He's like, "Yeah, let's try it." I'm like, "Okay."
So what'd you do? Fly home?
Yeah, flew home. I think I was back in Texas for a week, and then I came back the following week or something. Showed up that week, and I was like, "Well, let's just keep trying it." I don't know. I have no idea how long.
Let's pause. What did you tell Jesse?
Oh, yeah,
we didn't talk about that part.
Well, yeah. I was like, "Look, I want to be involved with these guys. I love this program. I love it. Saved our shop. Like, I want to be involved. I don't know what that looks like." She's like, "Well, I love our house here, and my sister is next door." And like,
oh, your sister. That's right. She was living next door.
Her sister is next door
with kids, right?
Yeah. The cousins.
Oh.
And so she's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Okay, well, how would that look? Like, can we go back and forth? Like, what do you want to do? Because like, I don't have to be there like every single day. I can do every other week is what TJ is telling me. Like, that's about all they need for right now." She's like, "Okay." I was like, "We can rent a house up there. We can buy a house, like whatever you want to do." So we're talking through all these scenarios, and she's like, "Look, why don't we do this for like 3 or 4 months? We'll come up there with the kids for a month. You can work. Like, let's just see. I want to see if I like it up there. I want to see what the area's like." I was like, "Okay, we'll dip our toes in. We'll see if that works." And then March 2020 happens. 4 weeks after I'm into the office, and I remember going to Vision, and that week of Vision, like COVID was starting to like,
it was hitting, and Vision like literally pulled that off barely.
Yeah.
Barely.
That was insane. And
we were a super spreader. We didn't even know it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was literally like 3,000 people. And I think it was announced, 8 days later.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And we were all together, shaking hands in the wintertime, coughing.
Yeah.
Yep. And man, we didn't know. Like it was a day by day after that, and it just got more intense and more intense and more intense. Like, and I just knew like I need to be up there in Shopfix, like helping, and like we were. I don't know, that just felt like crazy, like crazy time. Like, because all these shop owners are looking for us to help, and like I'm up there and TJ's like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And like we're running through scenarios and we're talking to you.
But I remember I had to back off a Shopfix.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I don't remember, I think I had 7 or 8 stores at the time, whatever, but I had to save my own stores.
Yeah.
And so I was like running around all the stores going, all right, everybody, I'm not firing you. I'm giving you an hourly number. I'll tell it to you privately and you can go home, tell your wife that's guaranteed. No one's getting terminated. We were going to paint walls. We're going to epoxy floors. We're going to do whatever. We had savings. Mm-hmm. And so they were all like, okay, are we good, boss? I said, we're good. I can last months like this, but I got to give you a number that I knew I could last months at that number, because I didn't want to lose anybody.
Yep.
And then we were doing the webinars at night.
Yep.
But y'all really ran Shopfix during that period because I was my own stores and then my nightly webinars.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know anything. I mean,
nope.
It was literally like, how do we do the ERC and how do we do the whatchamacallit, the grants, and how do we do that? I don't know. And we'd learn it.
Yeah.
And 4 hours before I'd go on at like 8 p.m. at night, we'd do that and did that for 6 weeks straight, 6 nights a week, actually 4 weeks for 6 nights. And then we dropped to 5 nights for the last 2.
I remember that.
But I just worked on that.
Yeah.
And didn't even talk to our members one-on-one. Sure. You guys did all the talking to everybody.
We were doing webinars and
and I just did the webinars to the masses, and I was interviewing people, bringing on attorneys, bringing on accountants and everything. And it was, tense was an understatement. I still remember you one time coming into my office and you go, dude, you came in, you go, PayPal's doing it because the banks had stopped doing it and some of them got maxed out.
Yep.
And then somebody else calls in and y'all would run downstairs, Aaron, for tonight, tell everybody that QuickBooks is now doing it.
Yeah.
Like, because all these companies were jumping in last minute to do these grants from the government. And it was like we had all of our feelers out and our members were the ones getting the info at the ground level. And then we'd report it back to everybody.
Yep.
And then our members would go to the banks and he'd go, our banker doesn't know as much as we know.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Crazy.
It was like this. We were the central hub of all this intelligence coming in, and we were trying to like cipher through
disseminate it and organize it.
Yeah, it was just, I just remember that being like intense for months.
And none of our competition did anything. They all went silent.
Yeah.
It was literally like you could hear a pin drop, and we were nervous. We were like, what are they doing that we don't know?
Sure.
It was a crazy time, and you were pivotal in that. That was a nutty time.
I remember being on a plane, I don't probably a dozen times, and there was 4 of us on the Southwest plane. Like
they were losing so much money.
It was crazy. Yeah. I was like, "How are you guys staying open?" And they're like, "Oh, we make all our money shipping medical supplies right now."
Oh, that's true.
Full
of belly.
Yeah,
the belly of the plane would just be full of equipment.
Yep.
Yeah. I just remember watching it from outside, watching you, because it was like every night, fresh, hot off the presses. Like everything stood still. It was crazy time, like you're talking about. And I just remember what I'd hear from you, and you'd be like, "Can you believe? Like this is what I just heard." And it was always just
within hours.
But then it was just immediately just
give it
back to everybody, so they know what to do next, because it was day by day. You didn't know what was going to happen next.
Yeah, and I look back at it. And this isn't even what the podcast is supposed to be about.
We're reminiscing.
I know, but it's true. Everybody relates. Everybody was in this together. I mean, but that was such a strange time, and the streets are empty, the grocery stores are empty, no toilet paper.
Oh man,
no rubbing alcohol.
No rubbing alcohol. All these weird things that were happening that were just kind of side distractions. But the main thing was that everybody was lost, but if we were lost together, we were still together.
Yeah. Yep.
And we got the information, we got it out to people, and we got it out fast. It may have been sloppy, but it was fast.
Yes.
And we got it out, and we would share our screen. We would all talk about what we were going to do and what we were going to cover. And I just remember it was the most burned out feeling I had ever as a person felt in my life. And I'd been through a lot of hell, and I'd never felt that exhausted emotionally, physically, spiritually as I did on that last 6th week. I mean, I was just a crisp. And had you not been there at that time, wouldn't have survived, because it was the amount of call-ins from members.
Yes.
I don't even think today, we're 4 times the size.
Yeah.
I don't even think today our phones ring as much as they rang during those 6 weeks. People were scared to death, paralyzed.
Yeah.
We all were.
Yeah.
But I still remember one of our friends, very large operator, called me up and said, we're laying off everybody. And I said, I wouldn't do it. And he said, why? And I said, I think everybody is going to want technicians. I think it's going to blow up. He said, I don't know, man. I think you're crazy. I think they're saying this is going to go forever. And I was wrong, and I thought it was going to be up in May. And remember, they kept everything closed.
Yep.
What was it? All the way through August, maybe early September.
Yeah.
And I just remember telling him, no, I don't think so. But I said, when it opens back up, I'm telling you, it's going to be wide open. So I was right on that part.
Yep.
But I was wrong on when I thought it would open back up. And I remember when it opened back up, I was just like, oh my gosh. And it was slow. And then we had kind of it was a record June, but just a little bit up.
Yeah. Yep.
And then July hit.
Oh, yeah.
And July was like, blew it out. And I go, oh, that was just, it's over. August, just like 50% over July. Like, I mean, it's all hands on deck. We can't keep up. And it's everybody in Shop Fix. It's not just us. It's my stores, your store, everybody.
Well, we were telling everybody to market still. We were day by day, marketing, do this, do not.
No one else was telling them marketing.
Off,
all the other all the other coaching companies were like, shut all of it down. Don't do anything.
So just completely pull back.
Yeah. But we were like, market, don't stop. And we just kept beating that drum. And when I knew we were on to something was when we hit September. And September's always slow in the automotive industry.
Yep.
And everybody, I mean, at that time, I don't know what we had. 400 members, 300 members. I don't remember, but it was enough that, and they were nationwide, all over, that we had proof that our concept was working, like definitive 100% proof. And we were blowing everybody out in the country.
Yeah.
It was a crazy time.
Yeah.
It was absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
It was a scary. The
fact
time.
that you went through, figured out that coaching was important to you, and then also developed your ability to do the systems and the approach, and just, a good lesson of what you did is go in and make yourself valuable. A lot of people go in and they wait for somebody to show them how to bring value or what, show them the path. Yeah. You go in and you create value. And when you create value, you create demand. And after the first week, TJ probably immediately saw it, was like, oh man, we need this guy. Get him a second card table.
Get him a second.
So that's a big deal, man.
Yeah, God's hand was all over that timing, and I look back at now. We had a 6-month-old baby that was born in June of 19. I'm like, what was I thinking?
What was your wife
thinking? Why did my wife let me do this?
Now, how did you get the family up here permanently? That's kind of where it all the crescendo.
Yeah. So I mean, we're in the, I don't know, whatever emergency operations mode. DEFCON, whatever. And so I'm like, okay, I'm definitely needed here. This is happening. We're rolling. I'm not going anywhere. I definitely can't leave them now. So she's like, okay, well, why don't we rent a house? Because we were looking for a house and trying to buy one. And I was a little scared. I mean, it's COVID and there was some stuff happening. So we rented a house in Tollgate up there.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, rented a house. And
it was 6 months or something?
No, 2.5. We moved in the end of June.
Of 20.
Yeah. So.
But you left all your furniture in the other house. You bought new furniture.
Oh, yeah. We bought all new furniture up here.
Okay.
Because she's like, I want a place to go home. Her parents were living in the suite with us and all that. Cousins are next door. She's like, I want to be able to go back and forth. I'm like, okay, well, we homeschool, so that's no problem. We can do this.
Yeah.
And she's like, I like adventure. I like travel. I like Tennessee. it'll take me a little bit to adjust and get through it. And so I'm like, well, and we put an offer on a house and we had it accepted. And I was like, I don't know if it's us. So we just rented in the same neighborhood. And I was like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden this other house pops up, and like the day it went on, I'm looking at the market and text to Rachel. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to go look at this house. And Jesse's literally flying in that morning, and we're going to Knoxville to go see my parents, but go look at the house, video it. I told her, I was like, well, let's do this, and put an offer in it, and moved in October of 2020.
So you put the offer in when? What month?
August. It was the end of August, because it was.
So the housing market wasn't exploded, but it was going up at that point.
Yeah.
It was about to really blow up.
Yeah. Because I remember closing on our house during hackers that year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That little puppy's worth a whole lot more now than it was then.
Yeah.
If you'd waited any longer, you would have paid a lot more.
No kidding. Again, total God timing.
A lot of timing stuff for you, man. A lot of timing things that have happened.
It's crazy. Like all the people that he's brought into my life, and like all the things that are lined up, and it's just I look back, I'm like, I could not have like planned all this stuff out. Like, definitely want to pick me to go through 2 obstacles and like the shop thing, but like I needed to go through all that. So yeah, it's been crazy.
And now you're settled in. And how often do you go to Texas?
Yeah. Well, I flew in last Friday for a day, met a bunch of new employees. That's always interesting. Who are you again? I'm sorry. I'm here every once in a while, but I do sign the checks. Okay. Probably, I don't remember the last time I was there. It was probably April. So once every 2 or 3 months, I'm there for a day.
And what about your wife and the kids?
So they're actually going there this next week. So they're there a week out of every 2 months, probably. So
not that often.
Cousins are coming up here more. Yeah.
And is your wife plugged in up here?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
now she likes Tennessee.
All the programs like church and all that stuff. Like, yeah, and we're having a baby in October here. Yeah. So. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, as we wrap up, I'm curious for you in all that transition and all the coaching that you've done. What's something really important that's come out of it that has kind of stuck true with you during that time?
Yeah. I don't think I definitely wouldn't be here sitting in this seat like if it wasn't for this guy just showing up and doing the course and putting all this coaching. Like, and I know I don't speak just for myself, but for a lot of people out there can say the same thing. But it took 2 people, right? One, I had to borrow confidence from his course, his videos, but then I also had to do the execution on my own. And you need both things. And a lot of people that I meet, they're either just don't know how to do it or don't have the confidence to do it. They know what to do, but they're like, is it going to actually work or not? And I would just say that the number one thing that I've learned through all this is like, man, when you need confidence, find somebody to get confidence from. When you need confidence, it doesn't matter if it's a neighbor, a friend, a mentor, or a coaching company, a consultant, like somebody, you better go find confidence, because it is so hard to dig yourself out of somewhere. Like, it's hard. If you don't have like somebody going, yeah, you can do this. Yes, you can do this. You don't have that cheerleader, man, that is really, really tough spot. So I would say confidence is huge, and people can do more than what they ever dreamed that they could possibly do. They just have to surround themselves with people, systems, processes, whatever it is that they need. People can do way more than what they think.
It's really good, man.
That's great.
Good advice. Great story.
Thanks.
It's a really good story. And I got to give props to you. ShopFix would not be where it is today without your help. It's funny how God, they say those things, the teacher appears when the student's ready, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think the same thing happens with need and promotion in life. Mm-hmm. We had a need. you were also due a promotion in life.
Sure.
And I think all of that coincided, and that promotion was you getting to go from owner to being a coach, which you wanted.
Yes.
And you were getting to do coaching, but you weren't getting the influence where things were going. And I think that right when our need appeared, he matched that with your ability. And so that was cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like you said before, we need both.
Yep. 100%. No, it's been really neat. It's been a crazy journey. And yeah, a lot of good people.
Absolutely.
That's great, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for, this is fun to talk. We went a lot of different directions. This is awesome.
Covered a lot.
The Tennessee Berg.
I'm going to make a new.
There you go.
All right. Thanks, man.
Love it. Thank you.